Hey, welcome Pine Island Research Monday night here on the Untold Radio Network. Thank you so much for joining. I see everybody piling in the room already. Man, it's great to see you guys show up. I tell you, this does happen now and then, believe it or not, when you do live shows. My guests tonight, hopefully they're able to join us. They may be just running a little bit late, but I don't have them here backstage yet. So we will figure that out. And if we don't, we'll figure something else out. I didn't really have much else planned, but we will get there. I'm sending a few messages out to a few of my colleagues that I do hang with and guest on their shows now and then. And maybe if for some reason our guest isn't able to join us tonight, they can pop on too. But I've got a couple other things we'll talk about. Those who joined us this morning on Coffee Time. I had Doug Hychek on, and we talked quite a bit about Legend Meets Science 2. Where that's at, what the schedule looks like for production over the summer, and they have started a Kickstarter on it. The goal, of course, was to kind of keep this out of a partnership with a channel, a cable channel, just simply because don't want to relinquish any creative control, would like to have all the rights to the subject matter, be able to show it to whoever they want to show it to, whether they want to make it available on Amazon, Netflix, different channels. But they started a Kickstarter that is pretty cool, the way that it is set up. But first, I'm gonna play you the promo for that. It's kind of neat. I watched it this morning and visited with Doug quite a bit about it, and it's pretty cool. So a lot of opportunity here for people who want to donate to get involved, and the incentives to make a donation are pretty interesting. So why don't we share that to begin with? Pop this up and play it.
In the depths of our world's most remote and uncharted forests, an enigma has captivated the hearts and minds of people for generations. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti. This legendary creature has been known by many names, but its existence remains one of the greatest mysteries of our time. Now we invite you on a thrilling journey into the unknown with Legend Meets Science 2, a groundbreaking documentary that will change everything you thought you knew about Bigfoot. Join us as we uncover never-before-seen strategies and cutting-edge technology that could finally reveal the truth about this elusive creature. Witness exclusive footage captured using innovative camera traps designed specifically for this enigmatic being. But what makes these camera traps so unique, and how will they revolutionize our understanding of Bigfoot? Discover how an ingenious invention, a remote-controlled interactive robot, might change everything we know about this mysterious creature. Explore fascinating theories behind Bigfoot's extraordinary abilities and uncanny ability to evade capture. Could certain individuals hold the key to find?
Of course, it would have to buffer. Gee whiz. It's thinking. Well, come on. That is interesting that it wants to do that.
Finally capturing this mysterious creature on film into cutting-edge research analysis that could provide vital clues about this enigmatic being. Separate fact from fiction as we examine popular hoaxes and analyze what sets genuine evidence apart. Join experts as they unravel astonishing insights into the true nature of Bigfoot.
Must be a busy night on the internet here. Give it a chance to catch up.
Will these findings change our perception of this legendary creature forever? From analyzing footprints and dental evidence to exploring Bigfoot's diet, migration patterns, and vocalizations, our groundbreaking documentary will leave you questioning everything you thought was possible. By supporting our groundbreaking documentary film series, Legend Meets Science 2, you'll not only be part of a monumental quest for knowledge, but also receive incredible rewards that will make your experience even more unforgettable. As a token of our immense gratitude, we'll immortalize your name in the credits of our groundbreaking documentary. You'll forever be linked to this epic journey as we explore the enigmatic world of Sasquatch together. Pledge your support now, and you'll receive 3 signed DVDs, Legend Meets Science and Legend Meets Science 2 Part 1 and Part 2. Plus, proudly display 2 stunning signed posters from both films, an eye-catching reminder of your contribution to this extraordinary project. Immerse yourself in captivating stories, fascinating research, and mind-blowing discoveries with our collection of 14 exclusive ebooks. From Sasquatch Central to the Freeman Bigfoot Files, these riveting reads will captivate your imagination and fuel your quest for knowledge. Be the first to get the companion ebook for Legend Meets Science 2, written by anthropologist Dr. Jeff Meldrum. Pledge at this level, and you'll receive build kits for both the Sasquatch Outpost and the Bigfoot Museum. Create a personal tribute to these legendary creatures while showcasing your commitment to uncovering their secrets. Join us for an exciting private Q&A webinar on Untold Radio AM, where we'll discuss the latest findings and answer your burning questions. Plus, enjoy a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to spend 60 minutes one-on-one with documentary producer Doug Hychek, picking his brain and learning from his vast experience in the field. Show off your love for Sasquatch with an exclusive Legend Meets Science 2 t-shirt and signed hat. Plus, receive an executive producer credit for Legend Meets Science 2, showcasing your dedication to bringing this incredible story to life. This is it, the pinnacle of rewards. Pledge at this level and receive a one-off high-powered custom-built Sasquatch Research electric bike. Pick up only. And spend a day with Doug Hychek himself, training on the bike, enjoying lunch together, and embarking on an unforgettable bike ride as you explore the world of Sasquatch like never before. Don't miss out on these amazing rewards. The time to act is now. Pledge your support and help us bring the truth about Sasquatch to light. Meet Doug Hychek, the visionary filmmaker who has captivated audiences with his groundbreaking work in wildlife research and cryptozoology. With over 270 TV features to his name, including the hit series Monster Quest on the History Channel, Doug is a respected industry leader, credentialed technologist, camera systems inventor, and wildlife researcher. Doug has documented never-before-seen behaviors in animals such as black bears, beavers, fish, and invertebrates. His team even captured the first ever footage of a free-swimming true giant squid in its natural environment for the History Channel. But Doug's true passion lies in unraveling the mystery of Bigfoot. With decades of experience researching both known animals and yet to be proven cryptids, he is uniquely positioned to deliver a captivating documentary that explores this enigmatic world. Introducing Scott Hoffman, an award-winning cameraman with an unyielding passion for capturing the extraordinary. Having traversed through 38 countries in search of breathtaking footage, Scott brings unparalleled expertise to this project. Armed with state-of-the-art 6K and 8K red digital cinema cameras and an extensive array of camera tools, Scott is ready to capture unprecedented footage that will leave audiences speechless. Together, Doug Hychek and Scott Hoffman form an unstoppable team, a perfect blend of passion, expertise, and technological prowess. They are more than qualified to bring this ultimate Bigfoot documentary to life, but they need your help. Support their Kickstarter campaign today and join them on this extraordinary journey as they uncover the truth about Bigfoot. Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime?
Well, yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm gonna also share with you guys. Let me get to it here. Get that there. This over here. And we will put in the comments of tonight's show the link to the Kickstarter, link so that somebody can donate if they'd like. Let me pull this up here. This is what it looks like when you get on there. Legend Meets Science 2 film sequel, a Bigfoot documentary. They're trying to raise $80,000 in 1 month. Just launched this a couple hours ago, and almost at $700 already with 11 donors. Basically, they're trying to raise the last 80 grand to make the production. A lot of it has been paid for already, but to finish this without the partnership of, getting in a partnership with somebody from one of the channels that probably, as that business goes, would assert some creative control and this and that. They didn't want to give that up. They didn't want this to be a Hollywoodized production. It's not just for entertainment. It is trying to establish what Legend Meets Science did for the Bigfoot world in 2004 when the first part came out, based on Meldrum's book. Jeff Meldrum is writing a Legend Meets Science 2 book to accompany this. But as you can see, there's an awful lot of information here as to what's going to be in the documentary. And if you click back the project, you'll go down and see the different settings. For $10, you get your name in the credits. So that's a pretty good deal. For $30, you not only get your name in the credits, but you get the part 1 and part 2. And the part 2, Legend Meets Science 2, is a 2-part series. So three digital copies of all of them. Then it goes into some different tiers as far as getting some of Hanger One Publishing's books with it, their Ultimate Library. There is some of them that you get into different levels that involve T-shirts and all different kinds of stuff, but also some time spent with the producers, talking to them. You also can get to a point to where you can donate, and like you say, the top tier, you get one of the bikes that Doug Custom makes. And if you ask Todd Neese and others who own one of these and have had an opportunity to look at them closely and ask them what they spent for them, these things are handmade. They are made with the best components available. Most of the components, many of them, are one-off, CNC cut. As far as the gears and stuff, they are built better than any e-bike out there. And the bike itself is worth about $7,000. And then this one here is actually a one-off Sasquatch edition that is going to be outfitted with 750 watt e-bike with an HD camera setup on it. And you get to be in the documentary. So, that's the top tier level of donation, but pretty cool the way they got that set up. It's pretty neat. I would say that if we aren't able to get our scheduled guests on tonight, we'll get them rounded up to do it again next week. But until then, I've got some friends popping in here. Hey, Nikki, how are you?
Hello. Oh, gosh. Short notice.
What?
Short notice, dude.
Didn't have enough mirror time
got-
before you come on?
I got my lipstick on, so I guess that's
Wow.
enough.
That's look, you can just pop straight out of bed and put a baseball
No.
cap on and hop on whenever you want. So
I think I only did that one time on JoJo's channel. One time I did that.
yeah, this doesn't happen very often. I think I know what happened when we entered this show into StreamYard and it forwarded to YouTube originally. It put April 24th, next Monday night, as the date, the production date in. And I went back and changed it immediately. But I don't know how quickly YouTube got it updated. I had been getting some messages yesterday and today saying, dude, are you doing a show Monday night? And I said, yeah, why? And I looked and it showed the date is April 24th. And so it could just be that they were under the impression, both Chuck and both the guests might have been under the impression that we were doing it next Monday. So
yeah,
I apologize, but I'm looking forward to having them on. So hopefully that comes together. But how have you been?
I'm good. I'm good. Sorry, I'm still situating myself. I have to.
I caught your show last night.
Yeah, it was good. It was
That was a good
fun.
one.
Yeah, you never know how things are going to turn out with stuff like that. So it's not like you have a dry rehearsal. You just kind of have to go for it and hope
Absolutely.
that it turns out good. And it did. It did. They're great guys. I knew they were. It was just, what are they going to say? Are they going to give us any more juicy info or not?
Yep. For those that are unfamiliar or those listening on podcast, we have Nikki Clone with us from Harryman Hoaxes and Hoodwinks. You can find her channel on YouTube. And I will be here. Tell you what, let me just put the link to it here in chat. Pull it up.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So that everybody can find it. Here we go. There we go. There we go. Yeah. So
Thank you.
if you haven't, run on over and subscribe to Nikki's channel. That'd be great. She will probably thank you in advance.
I will. I'd appreciate it. I'm kind of in a special niche in the community, so I need as much help as I can get.
Well, there
as
you
much
go.
as I can get. But oh man, I had some news today, and it kind of really floored me.
What was that?
You might get the spoiler here. You might actually get the first to hear this, but y'all, there might be a part 2 to Sunday's show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I can't say anything. I want to, but I can't.
I hate
too
when
early.
you get in that position, but I would say anybody who watched last night's show would be excited about seeing a part 2. I'm sure.
Yeah, and if there is, it'll be worth it. So
yeah,
it'll be fun. It'll be another good one, another gooder, a gooder for the team for sure. But
so tell us a little bit about what you guys have coming up this summer, the dates, what's planned. You guys got an outing coming up here that
we sure do.
Might find an interest in.
Right. We are part of, Jay Birch from Bigfoot Barbecue, as many of you know. He is sponsoring a Mount St. Helens Sasquatch Shindig in 2023. It's going to be happening from July 26th through the 30th. It's a 5-day camp out. And also Michael Gallagher out of Canada. And I'm the point of contact. And it's kind of a joint alliance Bigfoot adventure is what we're claiming it. It's between the U.S. and Canada, researchers from both sides, enthusiasts, historians, and with the purpose of exploration of the area and fellowship, mostly fellowship, and food, because we're gonna have a bunch of cooks out there.
Yeah,
So
that'll be definitely one of the highlights. So you
yeah,
guys
yeah,
have a pretty cool area that they're going to be dry camping. So I mean, if people can get
right.
there with a
Hmm.
vehicle,
Yeah,
tents, whatever, bring your
that's part of
equipment.
the stipulation. So
There's
you
no
have to
giant
be
cost,
prepared.
no giant cost to attend or anything.
No, it's all on your own. You have to have your own transportation, your own gear, your own water. It's a dry camping situation, so you have to bring your own. You have what you carry in, you have to carry out. But it is exactly on the side of Mount St. Helens, and it is in the exact spot that Jay had his sighting.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to learn more about it, you can go to Nikki's channel, Hairy Man Hoaxes and Hoodwinks, and
Yep.
here on YouTube, and learn more about it. You got an email address they can contact you at,
Yeah,
Nikki?
you can contact me at hairymanhoaxes@gmail.com for that info. And
There
I'll
we
make sure to put it in the community page too, because I haven't put it on there, I don't think. But
Nice.
and it's not for us to get there and go see Bigfoot. Okay, that wasn't the purpose of the event. It was that we all talk to each other online, and it was more so that we could all get together and actually meet and hug and have that kumbaya moment by the fire pit, and that's what the
With
big
some
intention.
smoked brisket or something.
Yeesh, yeah, from Jay's
Or
brisket and Michael's. I think he's gonna make Chinese food out there. I think he mentioned that. I don't know if that's still the case, but he's like, I wonder if the border is gonna take my meat. He's like, I'm gonna take all this meat down.
well, people should know that, when you're getting together in numbers at an outing like this, it's really about the fellowship. That,
Mhm.
I any expectation to go someplace with a group of and get together as a big group of people with the idea that we're going to go see Bigfoot. I think I know there are events like that. I know there's been documentaries about events like that. I
Mhm.
just and I'm not here to poke holes in that approach, but
Right.
to think that that is really the point of doing something like this is really not the case. I mean, what this is it's like the fellowship that you'd get at a convention, but you get to be in the outdoors, sit around the campfire, enjoy the food for free rather than paying $8 for a walking taco at an arena somewhere.
Right.
And
Right.
kick back and have a drink with friends and make some new friends. I mean, it's just
Mhm.
really exciting. I think there's going to be a great opportunity
Oh
for
yeah, for
people who
sure.
are in that area or within a few hours at least. It'd definitely be worth the drive. But
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'll be flying in, and hopefully Jen can make it, because she's gonna be my buddy, and it's gonna be a good time. It definitely is. I mean, Thomas Steenberg has pretty much said he's committed to going, um, and Leon Thompson, Jerry
yeah,
Matthews they're all from Buckwaz crew are gonna try to make it. I'm not sure about everybody, but
well, just to sit around the fire for a few nights and listen to Thomas Steenberg, I'd be there. I mean,
oh yeah, for sure.
I don't care what
But
you're making for dinner. I'd show up for that. Bring a good
um,
bottle of bourbon and a hooded sweatshirt and kick back
right.
and listen to the stories.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we are talking about possibly doing some workshops during the day, but with Thomas and Leon. But it's still up, we're still working on those fine details, and we don't want to make it where people are going to come just for that, because that's not the reason.
Sure.
The whole purpose, and it's growing, but we don't want it too big either. So it's kind of a give and take of who can,
Sure.
who we not who we want everybody to be there, but there's only so much, hopefully everybody is
Well, I
squared
think
away with their gear, because I know I'm being sponsored by Jay, and Jen's probably going to be sponsored by Jay, so we've already kind of pushed him to the limit. So other people who are going, are saying, hey, I can bring another tent, I can bring this, I can bring that. For those individuals who are flying in or coming, they don't have their gear. I won't have any of my stuff. So,
and as you guys get closer to the date, I'm sure you'll set up some type of a group messenger way for people to contact and be able to say, hey, look, I'm bringing this, but I need that, and
exactly.
find somebody who can help them with that.
We've got a messenger set up already. It's, the fine details, like, we've got to have a committee that's going to go out there and set up, extra tents and stuff to hold on to certain areas so that we're not so far apart.
Yeah, it's kind of a first come, first serve basis in those kind of minimal maintenance type tenting areas. Right. I'm going to play something here quick, and then I'm going to bring in another guest. So give me just a second.
Show your support for the Untold Radio Network family of shows and join in on the conversation by using super stickers and super chats on YouTube. Got a question you want answered? Ask it live via a super chat and get real-time responses from our show's knowledgeable hosts and guests. Help keep the Untold Radio Network shows running strong. We need your support. Send your super chats and stickers now.
And we got Eric from Media Palace here. Hey, Eric, how are you?
Hey, what's up, Jeff and Nikki? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, enjoyed having you on our panel last week when we had Thomas and Joe on. It was a fun conversation about the future of Sasquatch research and kind of some of the things that are on that landscape, like AI, and some of the things that we need to learn how to navigate through. It was a great conversation. I appreciated what you brought to it, Eric.
Yeah, right on. It was fun being on there with Thomas. I'd never really got a chance to talk with him, and that guy's just like an encyclopedia of history. So it was cool talking with him. Yeah,
I love visiting with Thomas, and I was telling Nikki, if he's going to be at that outing, not that I wouldn't want to see Leon and Nikki and Jen and Jay Birch and all of them, Jerry, but boy, talk about just kicking back and putting your ears on cruise control.
Oh yeah,
it would be so much fun.
Yeah, I gotta get me some battery, solar battery stuff so that I can keep my stuff charged. Because I really want to record a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, most people go on outings to record Bigfoot, but I would rather go on that outing ready to record the stories and the fellowship that takes place around the campfire. I think that would be interesting to people.
Oh, for sure.
I think this is such a great opportunity for a lot of people who say, man, I'd love to meet this person, or I'd love to go to that area, or whatever. This is like 5 or 6 reasons all packed into one.
Right.
To do something like that. It's not just the location. It's not just who's going to be there. It's not just that this is really a vacation that once you get yourself there, you're done spending money. Every time you turn around, there isn't a fee to get in line for something,
That's true. Yeah,
I
wish I could make it up there. It sounds like it's gonna be a lot of fun.
You should come. Plan it.
I would have loved to have done it. I am going to be neck deep hopefully not neck deep, but literally, but in the Boundary Water 6 days during that time, and I'm looking forward to that too. But then again, I look at what they got going on, and I'm thinking, man, I wish I could change my schedule.
But it's hard. It's hard to get schedules together. Trust me.
Yeah. It sounds like a blast.
Yeah, I've been trying to get my summer put together. I've got a couple trips that I have to make, meeting with some professors who are working in the DNA labs and technology, and trying to get ready to implement a kind of a new page in research that I've wrote about in the book that I've got coming out. And it's kind of stepping outside of the Bigfoot community and developing relationships with scientists using technology that's already being used in other areas and stuff that would work here and maybe help us move this ball. But just nobody's really done it. I mean, it doesn't seem like anybody's done it. So, and I'm not going to say this will work or not, but I'm excited about it. I've also been, I keep getting invites. Doug says, "Hey, do you want to go up to Snow Grove with us?" And I was like, "Yeah, when?" And then, it's like, when doesn't really work. But he was just telling me this morning, he said, "Man, Blaine's getting a little anxious about this trip. If he backs out, you've got to come." And I was like, "Well, if he backs out, you let me know, but part of me gets excited about that. And then I hear all Doug sharing more stories about what happened to them when they were up there in 2012 or 11. And I think, man, I don't know about that." But
oh, wow. So it sounds like it's been a while since he's been out there, 2011, 2012. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they certainly aren't going up there expecting activity. They're going to go up and bring some of their equipment with. It's been a while since they've been back there. And if they end up having any type of experiences while they're there, they're probably going to turn right back around with that plane and fly all their equipment in and start film. So.
Nice.
But I think it's a realistic approach to show that.
You got an echo, or is it just me?
Oh yeah, I've got two now.
So was it me?
No, it's not you.
Let me just see here. It isn't there now after I muted Eric, so I don't know if. Let me unmute him. Yeah, it must be.
Oh. Let me see if I can switch something here.
I'm going to mute Eric just for a moment. So, yeah, I mean, they aren't going up there with this whole, "Hey, we're going to go up there and try to film all this stuff." They're really going up there not expecting anything. And if there was something, then great. They've got some equipment with them, It's a little bit more of a refreshing approach than some of those who are going in with the purpose of, "Hey, I've got a scheduled meeting with Bigfoot here this weekend. You guys can't miss this," right?
Yeah, right.
That's rarely the case, but let's see if that seemed to fix it, Eric. It sounds.
Tell me, can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you're fine.
Sweet. Yeah, it kind of caught me off guard. I had switched some stuff around, but yeah.
I know. Right before I was getting on, I'm like, okay, this is the stupidest thing I'm gonna say. I came in, I'm trying to hurry to get ready and I make sure everything's on, and I'm like, shit, I can't hear myself. I can't hear myself. I had my headphones that I wear around my neck, my earbuds, trying to hear I didn't even put my headphones on. I'm like, oh my God.
For me, whenever I'm in a crunch like that, I mean, if you sent me a link saying, "Hey, can you come on my show? I start in 5 minutes," I'd be getting on my PC and Windows to be doing an update. And, just like
something always happens.
Really?
I'm terrible in those situations. Yeah. I got no composure.
Yep. Yep. So tell us a little bit, Eric, about what you've got coming up here on your horizon. Are you going to keep working on the documentaries and the different things that you've been working on, I assume? Or
yeah, so actually this week I got some pretty good news. The Legend of Hairy Man Road, right, see behind me, it actually got picked up for distribution. So that should be on some platforms here coming up pretty soon. It's on my YouTube channel right now, but it's kind of like the YouTube edit. Unfortunately, YouTube kind of makes you change some things. And so I had to do that with this one. But for the new one that's going to be distributed, it's the original cut. So I didn't have to take anything out and nothing like that. So it's going to be a different version of it. And then I also have my other documentary, Expedition Brushy Creek, which was a follow-up to my first documentary, where I actually get to go out to where I had an encounter myself in 2011, June 2011. So I was able to go back to that same area and kind of show the measurements and the area for what it was. And a lot of interesting interviews there too. So it should be good. And hopefully that'll be finished up pretty soon. I'm trying to get the subtitles done in a few other languages, trying to get it done in German, Japanese, because one of the people featured in the documentary is actually a researcher from Germany. And he did some work for me, some really interesting breakdowns. So I'm trying to get it done in German and possibly Japanese if we can get it out there. But
it's
but yeah,
amazing when you look at some of these documentaries that, you know, when they're distributed through Amazon or one of these widespread platforms, how much interest there really is over in Europe on these. It'll blow your mind when you start looking at the analytics of it, really.
Yeah, I think my first documentary, it honestly did better in the UK than it did in the United States. I have all the data for that, and I wasn't expecting that. It actually got to UK a little bit later, but yeah, for whatever reason, they're really interested in the area over there. So hopefully it keeps up with the next one. We'll see.
Yeah, it's funny how you don't really see that on the surface, but it was kind of the same thing with when we started researching, doing the documentary on Blood Run with the Indian burial mounds here. The amount of interest that in the Asian countries, like in Japan especially, on Native American culture just will blow your mind. And when you look at the analytics of past documentaries that are Native American genre, the download percentage in Japan is mind-boggling. They really have a huge interest in that.
I've been wanting to ask you about that, Jeff, see how that was going, because I remember you bringing it up when I talked to you last, and I was fascinated with that area because it sounds kind of similar to what's going on here.
Well, we're going to be doing some filming out there in about 6 weeks, and rather than producing the documentary, just because to tell the whole story the way that I would have liked to have told the story would have probably taken 4 parts, and the Kickstarter would have been about 10 times as big as Legend Meets Science 2 to do it right. Probably would have had a partnership with one of the, you know, whether it's History or somebody, one of the big networks. There was interest in it. They did want a lot of creative control in how that would be put out. We weren't really interested in that. This is a hard subject to cover, first of all, because there's 5 tribes that are associated with that land right now, the historical connection to it. And I'm not going to come into this, you know, stereotypically as some white guy doing a documentary about Native American culture and the history of it for the last 500 years without involving those tribes, out of respect. I want them to tell their stories. I want them to feel really good about how it's being told. But the politics that exists within those tribes themselves and how one wants it presented and how another one wants it, that's a hard, it's hard to navigate that. And so I'm really looking at doing kind of a mini doc on the burial mounds themselves. I am going to be bringing out 3 different people who are have gifts that where they could be out there overnight. We'll be out there with thermal cams from a distance and stuff, but put them in 3 different locations of the 400 acre area that encompasses the 298 burial mounds there that have over 6,000 bodies buried in them.
Insane. That's insane.
And on their own in different areas, trying to make connections as to what happened here. What's the story you want told? And then taking them and interviewing them separately, not letting them get together, and see if there's parallel messages that they received. If there is a, you know, I think the interest of that, not just from the Native American burial mound sacred site part of it, but also the interest in that cross genre of the paranormal. And could this really happen? Could three people make contact out in these areas and actually have communication that when compared, it mirrors each other? You know, I don't know if it can or not. I don't go in there saying, hey, if it does, the only thing we're going to show is if it does. If it doesn't, I'm showing that, you know?
Yeah, either way, I think it's going to be interesting to hear either way. If it connects, if it doesn't, you're going to get some amazing stories out of that. That's how many mounds? You said 200 something mounds?
Well, originally there was almost 400.
That's insane.
But, you know, when the railroad came through, a long time ago, in the late 1800s, it decimated quite a few of them. There was one big snake burial mound that probably on its own. So here's the deal. The oldest body they found there is 8,400 years old.
Okay.
And that's what the testing shows. And this area around 400 to 500 years ago was considered like the Native American New York Stock Exchange. There was over 17 tribes that traveled here from all over the top half of North America and Canada that would trade their goods and the resources that they brought from their areas. They would spend a month and a half traveling here, sending delegates on their behalf, their chiefs, their warriors, whatnot. And they would be here for a while, for a month or so. Well, they would not only trade goods, but they would compete. They discovered this huge stone like amphitheater set up that looked like this thing's 500 years old, and it looks like it was an area that you would probably compare to the size of a baseball stadium, you know. And they would race horses there. They would have, you know, wrestling matches, all kinds of different things that they competed against each other with. They also worked out treaties and settled differences amongst the tribes. And if they would try to resolve it there first, and if that didn't work, then tribes would pick which side they were going to be on, and they'd leave there with the understanding that this has gone unsettled. But they would try to resolve it there. It's just the history is so rich and it's so interesting that this was really, even though it existed there for 8,000 years, it was at its height in that 400 to 500 years ago range. And then before the railroad, before the white man showed up here, about 75 to 85 years before it, everything's gone. All the people are gone. And that's the huge question. Was it disease? Was it, you don't just abandon a site that's sacred for thousands of years. You don't just walk away from that, right? And so trying to get these unanswered questions, like what happened to everybody? Why did they leave this? And I think that's where it kind of becomes interesting to put these people who have a Native American tie, put these empaths out there to try to make contact. See what happened here, you know.
Do any of the tribes have a assumption of what happened? Do you know?
You know, the interesting thing about it is, and I have to be careful on how I say this because this is not a shot at any of them, but most of these tribes, what they know about their connection there, they've learned through the universities who have excavated it.
Wow.
I mean, teams from the University of Iowa, teams from Minnesota, all over. There's like 4 or 5 different universities that have gone there and archaeologically kind of uncovered a lot of history. And a lot of these tribes learn about, you know, they know a lot about their history, their folklore, all this stuff. But when you say, where was your tribe located 375 years ago? Exactly. There's some question marks that exist there, you know, with a lot of them. And so a lot of their history, they've actually learned or at least validated or filled in blanks with the things that we've learned through the archaeology of these sites. But it's just tough. It's tough to have one of them say, would these two tribes agree that if we portrayed this in this way, that would be an accurate representation? Would you agree with that? No, they don't. I mean,
interesting.
You can't get everybody on the same page, it feels like, and it's frustrating. So,
man, I'm looking forward to that. I remember the first time you told me, I was just like, whoa, that's pretty amazing stuff. So let me know when that's coming out.
Well, like I say, it isn't Sasquatch related. It's out of my wheelhouse as far as that goes. I'm not a documentary filmmaker. Luckily, I've got some connections with somebody who is. So, we'll do it on a smaller scale. And quite honestly, it may be presented and digested better doing it on a smaller scale than doing it on a large one. It may be the case.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to get approval for certain things. You can go ahead and pump it in there.
The state in, this is along the Big Sioux River. So about 2/3 of these mounds are on the South Dakota side of the Big Sioux River, and about 1/3 of them are on the Iowa side. They all overlook kind of from the river bluffs. But the state seems pretty excited that somebody's going to kind of promote this and do it in a respectful way, that this is a sacred ground. This isn't our playground. This isn't a picnic area or a place to go launch kayaks. There's something that happened here. And so when the state bought this property, the first thing they did was build a $7.5 million building, multicultural center, to educate people on how the significance of it. And I think that was the best thing they could have done, is just,
definitely,
if they're going to have now they have outdoor concerts there. They have all kinds of things that occur here, but it's around that understanding that this is a sacred place, and I just think that's what makes it so special. But
I wish we had the same amount of respect you guys are getting up there. Here, it's just like, in Texas, we have a weird rule that says if a construction company finds any Native American remains or any remains, they can hire their own anthropologist. And normally 9 times out of 10, what happens is their anthropologist comes and they're like, oh yeah, it's nothing. Go ahead and So we lost a lot of history that way, unfortunately.
When we built our home here, I could literally throw a rock and land it in the Blood Run grounds.
Wow.
That's how close I am to it. And when we dug the basement of our home, I was really nervous about, they really defined well where these mounds are, because the HOA, if you will, the 30 homes or so that are built on these small private lakes that sit right next to this place are on hillsides that overlook the river basin. And I'm just like, this actually looks more hilly than the areas where you're saying there's burial mounds. I just did not feel like there's no definitive way to say that there aren't burial mounds here, right?
Well, just don't be burying the family dog or cats.
Well, we never discovered anything crazy when we were digging the basement here. But you look at what's there. So just so people understand, out of these 17 plus tribes that traveled there for these get-togethers to exchange goods and work out treaties and whatnot, they all had their own sets of burial mounds. People would pass away on the way there. People would pass away while their tribe was there. And because of that, they weren't all buried in the same location. There, like 26 of those mounds belong to this tribe, and 20. So you've got all these different dialects of Native Americans from all over North America that all have burial mounds in this one concentrated area. And from what I understand, these geologists say this is the one area in the world that has the most dialects of people buried in the same location. And that's what makes it kind of unique compared to other places that have burial mounds. It was just the fact that this wasn't just 1 or 2 tribes that utilized them. But
That sounds awesome, man.
yeah,
I'm
it'll
into
be
it.
fun. I'll be doing some kind of live filming, maybe do some
Oh,
live
yeah.
streams as we get out there on the property and kind of show people what it looks like. That multicultural center is cool because if you go inside it, they have these huge the dwellings that they use there. They don't look like teepees. That's what that kind of surprised me off bat. You think Native Americans in South Dakota, you got a bunch of teepees out there, right? And
Sure.
and for most cases in the open, you know, especially in western South Dakota, where the Pine Ridge Reservation is and where a lot of the buffalo herds existed, that was the preferred dwelling. But here, they're kind of shaped like an oval and they're domed. And the way that they're built, they have one built in this multicultural center with the skins that are covering it.
Oh, wow.
And it is freaking amazing to look at. And so I thought it'd be kind of fun, kind of as the first part of this, just go over there and show everybody what it would have looked like if you stood there, you know.
Definitely, man.
But
that sounds awesome.
Yeah. So what else do we have to talk about, Nikki? What do you got coming up on your shows on the horizon here?
Oh, I don't know. A little bit of this and a little
part
bit.
two.
She keeps you guessing.
The part 2 is will be a good thing if it can come to fruition, but you know, you just never know. Just like today, you know, you don't know what's gonna happen from show till showtime.
Right.
So hopefully I'm probably gonna have to prepare 2 shows is what's gonna happen. In case one doesn't happen, I have something to fall back on.
Yeah.
And hopefully by Friday I can put out a promo as to which show is going to happen. But yeah, starting tomorrow, I'll definitely have to come up with 2 different shows. And you know, because if this show happens, it's going to be amazing. And yeah, all I can do is hope that everything comes through. And I did put out a new short today, a new video, just a little promo thing, you know, so I could just put it on TikTok and the shorts and reels and stuff like that. Nice. So that came out pretty cool.
Yeah, you know, I think all of our shows are kind of a testimony that you never know what it may evolve into. I mean, just a few weeks back when I had Todd Neese and Ron Moorhead on, Ron had disclosed and Todd had disclosed that, in fact, there are over 10 hours of the Sierra sounds recorded. It kind of melted my brain a little bit, trying to wrap my head around that. Like, did he just say that on my show for the first time anywhere, that there's over 10 hours of the Sierra sounds? You just don't know what's going to happen ahead of time. You know, we don't rehearse this stuff with our guests. Typically, when I have a guest scheduled, I tell them straight out, it was a pretty laid back interview. I like to talk about you, where you're from, what got you into it, and where we go from there. I said the first half of the show, I'd like you to kind of take us where you want to go. And usually that last third or so of the show, the chat here is so interactive that they're asking questions that you can address, and that kind of controls where you go. Yeah. But I don't like to bullet point out, we need to cover this and this, and you know.
I do that sometimes. You should see what I have plastered in front of me, usually before a show, because for me, I have this fear of dead air.
Yeah.
And I need to have stuff ready to go. You know, I'm getting Alzheimer's. So sometimes I'm like, dang, what was I just going to say? You know, I need to look at my notes.
Yeah.
So
well, you're doing a good job over there, Nikki. You're doing a really good job at, you know, your shows are always very engaging, and if you stick around to the end, it's like you always see something new, you know. So
I know. And yesterday I was going to show something to everybody who hung around, and I totally forgot. And we ended because, you know, I didn't want to run too far because Steve was going to be having his show. Right. And I wanted time for us to be backstage to have a little chat too. So That's why, you know, I kind of timed it just for that 1.5-hour show instead of my normal 2. And it did. It came out exactly to that. Exactly to that. So you just, you know, I'm trying to be consistent.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really trying, you know, to have my segments and to let it go whatever. Right now, though, I'm telling you, the Bigfoot world is full of nothing but people playing with AI.
Oh, yeah.
Because I went looking for stuff for my, you know, my Show Me What You Got segment. And I'm like, it was nothing but AI stuff people were showing. I'm like, nobody's even posting their.
And it isn't just the
paranoia.
Bigfoot world. I went on this morning to a lot of these trusted sites that I use to get science articles from. That's typically what I like to talk about on coffee time on Monday morning, is kind of where science is going. And we also talk about paranormal news and stuff like that. But, you know, it's an interesting thing to pay attention to what's unfolding in front of us with technology and science. And even on some of these sites that I've trusted, I'll look at, and these articles it's like the National Enquirer right now. It's like somebody pulled out the stop for anything goes and just released the floodgates here.
It is,
for sure. I know it is like that.
Yeah, I did a little test stream the other night, and we were kind of playing around with AI and stuff like that. And so people were giving me all these prompts. Hey, type in, you know, Bigfoot peeking around tree and stuff like that. But it was a good bit of fun messing around with it.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I did that too this morning.
It's fun just to play around with it. Yeah.
Most of what's available is these image AI programs, you know, that you can put on your phone. And I encourage people to check it out just so you understand what's out there. I mean, for free, you can go put an AI program. Now, there might be the one that I put on my phone originally said, you know, upload 5 pictures of yourself, and it takes 5 different pictures of you. But for $5, you can upload 50 pictures of yourself, or take 50 different pictures of yourself. And the accuracy of it, like I say, if you said, show me standing on poolside on a cruise ship in the Bahamas wearing a Hawaiian print Speedo, give it 30 seconds, it'll do it. I mean, it's scary how accurate these things are.
Yeah, it only takes a few minutes.
Look at the 50 pictures of you that you fed it. If you were to give it 50 CGI created, really enhanced looking, detailed photos of what you see in CGI creation of what it thinks Bigfoot is, and you fed that program, said, this is what I look like, show me looking around the edge of a tree by a river or whatever, you're going to fall over when you see what it starts feeding you. I mean, now that's just for stills. Once you start advancing that into video capability, and you start, like we had covered the other night, Eric, once you start artificially substituting the metadata in that,
absolutely.
We could be in a position to where, again, I'm not saying that there aren't professionals that exist that could decipher that, you know, but for the most part, 99% of people wouldn't be able to. And I know there's other people out there in the community right now that said, oh, I could, anybody. I don't think they really understand what they're saying when they say that.
No, I watched the video that was from 2 years ago, and it was about a person who was altering his metadata because he didn't want his GPS coordinates from a picture he'd taken of his family shown. That was 2 years ago he was doing that.
Yeah.
And I mean, everything was exactly the same. He just deleted the GPS coordinates. He could have put a different GPS coordinates in there, and no one would have known. And that's been out for 2 years. I mean,
we shared, I shared the other day the story that me and you were talking about with, and this was pretty well documented too out there in the photography contest for the federal waterfowl stamp.
Yeah.
first place is going to get rewarded pretty handsomely.
Yeah.
This is a very, very competitive thing amongst wildlife artists and photographers. And when they narrowed it down to 5, one of the 5 looked at one of the pictures he's competing against and says, I know that picture. I know who took that picture. Right. And he contacted the federal division that was doing this program, and they looked at the metadata on the submitted picture and looked at the real picture that person who found it said, I know the guy who took that, and he got them the real picture, and they compared them, and they couldn't tell which one was real and which one wasn't. And that just shows you that when there's money on the line, there's enough money on the line, people will do some stupid stuff.
Yeah, that's been going on since the 2010s. I mean, right along the time that they started doing the trail camera contest as well. That started happening, and it's been happening for a while. It's not new. It's a real thing, and I think it's just going to get harder now with the stuff you're seeing. It's kind of like consumer grade at this point. Before it was a little harder. You had to be an engineer, a computer engineer, but now it's anybody can do it at this point.
Right.
Well, I'm a big believer that if I hired you, or if I'm Bill Gates and I hire somebody to come to my company and develop software, develop something that's cutting edge on how to do something, when it comes to coming in the back door of that and altering it, manipulating it, who can figure out how to do that? The guy I hired to build it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Of course he can. And when you look at the money that's at stake here, and like I compared it to kind of that race for the moon, back in the in the 60s, you had countries that would have done anything to get a leg up on that. And when you've got multiple corporations trying to corner, trademarkable and intelligence like that, and be able to say, this is what we've come up with. So a lot at stake there. And so, the idea that this is something, when somebody says, when you look at technology of the past, say, it may be a year from now, it may be 2 years from now. This stuff is moving so liquid fast that we could be talking 3 days from now or 3 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Not a couple of years from now.
No, there's a guy I subscribe to on YouTube, and he does This Week in AI. So every week he'll tell you about the new advancements, and it's becoming to where it's this, like it used to be a week, now it's like 3 days later in AI. So it's advancing lightning fast.
And this is
I was
exactly
telling you
what we
stuff
were
this
covering.
morning. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Nikki. Thomas had
No,
said,
I saw it too. I saw that comment.
AI will take to the point where any image of Sasquatch will have a shadow of doubt. Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
In today's world, if you came out with something as impactful as Patterson Gimlin came out with, 70 years ago, it will not be accepted across the board. There is no way any evidence like that will be accepted as anything other than data to be considered. We've gotten to the point where Thomas is right. If you don't have a body or a piece of a body, skeletal remains, you don't have much that's going to be considered evidence of Sasquatch.
Well, back to the kind of like the metadata thing and Thomas's comment here. Once AI figures out how to do real-time rendering, that is going to be almost impossible, even with the metadata. Where like real-time rendering is going to be, instead of, you type a prompt and you have to wait for it to complete. At this point, you type a prompt and it's there. It's interacting with you. It's almost like a video game. Now, if someone is able to broadcast a live rendering on like Facebook Live, where you see a chat scrolling up, how is anybody going to prove that's not real? The only way you're going to do that is with a good eye, an artistic eye. That's the only way you're going to be able to do that.
Well, we're talking about a community that's already stumbling over being able to determine what's real and what's not. When people are in Facebook groups sharing images that have proven to be a hoax 10 years ago.
Right.
And they came around cyclic through the pipe 15 times since they first did. And every time it shot down, and yet there's still people starting their journey, learning about stuff in this community, saying, look at this picture, and they're putting it on. And there's people looking at it going, wow, that has to be real. And it's like, no, it's been proven fake 15 times in the last decade. You know, it's just, when you've got a community that, and I'm not speaking down to this, but for legitimate reasons, a lot of people are lost when it comes to what I should be referencing as data to be considered or already proven not to be considered. They're lost in figuring that out, and AI is going to do nothing but put them further in the wilderness. I mean,
the two things I think we got to be on the, well, I make it sound like a bad thing. It's not all bad, you know. There's going to be tools. Not. There's going to be tools that we might be able to use from this. You know, I think in a couple of years, well, I say for the Patterson, I might get some heat for this, but I think the Patterson footage, it's two-dimensional right now, but people will be able to render that environment to see the actual scale, size, maybe even get accurate measurements of the gate and the actual size, maybe even the poundage of this thing. That's not far. Yeah. That's not too far-fetched, honestly.
Yeah, I don't want to get the cart in front of the horse, and I'm not saying that LMS2 is going to do that. I don't know if it will or not, but I know they are doing stuff with the PG film that nobody's done yet. And, awesome. And quite honestly, when I seen it stabilized here last week and presented, I thought that it almost looks like a whole new piece of data to consider when you see it in that context. But
yeah,
I know that there are some advancements and some things that are being done with technology that's going to show that piece of film in a little bit different light. That I'm looking. I look forward to all the things that come along the pipe that technology helps us get better at. And I, like you say, I'm not here to present AI as something that's bad. The problem is the way that it is a tool that can be used in a negative way, but it's a tool that's being designed to be used in a positive way. I mean, if you look at, we talked about this the other night, what your typical production company pays to film a movie, you know, John Wick 4 has $1 million budget, right? They're hoping they can make 150, 200 million at the theater because they're going in the whole $1 million right out of the gate, right? And they're going to do that when they bring in big names like Keanu Reeves and different people involved in that. However, the location and the special effects and the catering and the freaking costumes and all the stuff that builds up this huge price tag, you're going to be able to create a lot of that through CGI and AI on your own in a studio. The idea of needing to go on location and have people do things, there's almost going to be no need for that anymore.
No, I've been kind of toying with that myself. It's called virtual productions. And I mean, that's the way they're filming The Mandalorian right now. They're filming in virtual productions. They're not going to sets anymore. They have a gigantic LED room that they film everything in, and it's in real time. It's happening in real time. They'll say, "Oh, let's change the set." It takes 2 minutes to change the set. You know, that's where we're at now. And in the future, like I don't know if you guys saw this, but I believe it's Bruce Willis actually signed away his facial, rights or whatever. So you're going to start seeing more movies that come down the pipe with that type of software. So it's an interesting time.
John Wick, the John Wick trilogy, if there's a John Wick 5, they won't be paying Keanu Reeves to go on set and take 2 months and grow his hair out. They'll do that for him. They're just paying him for his permission, really.
That's where we're going right now. Yeah. I know Bruce Willis was one of the first dudes to sign away his facial rights, and it's kind of more people are going to start doing that. So yeah.
Plus, you can kind of capture yourself at the age you're at and not worry about what you'll look like 10 years older. You know, when you get to Bruce Willis's age, you don't want any. It'd be nice if the way I looked right now is the way you remember me forever, right? Don't see me 15 years from now.
Have you seen how they did the whole Avatar? too, the
I saw
underwater
some of that.
stuff.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
crazy how they really got in the water because he couldn't capture exactly the motions he wanted.
Yeah.
So he really put them in the suits doing that in the water, though. So it's just amazing.
In a
how
couple of
he-
years, Nikki, I'm telling you, like, hair and makeup is not going to exist in the movie industry anymore. They're gonna have a thing that you need to be a zombie. Boom, you're overlay. You're a zombie.
Well, look at TikTok. You can pick any face you want. You want to have if I want my lipstick and my eyelashes on there, then I can just pick the.
Yeah, that's
real.
That's real time rendering right there. So the things I think people need to be on the lookout for is real time rendering and AGI. AGI is artificial general intelligence. So you don't even have to type anything at that point. It's going to suggest, hey, I made this for you. Do you like it or not? I made this movie for you. I made this song for you. Do you like it?
The path that we're on right now is that the next generation is going to look at filmmaking as it exists now and as it has existed over the last 5 decades as being how our current kids look at a rotary dial phone. I mean, they look at it and can't figure out what do you do with this? They don't even get that it turns, I saw an article yesterday on the original Jaws, and they were showing only part of the way into the water, the actual mechanism they had for Jaws, how big it was.
Yeah.
It was on a scissored escalator type thing. From the mid back to the head, it looks like a fish, but everything back was like ribbed for structural integrity and flexibility and the motors on how it would move.
Yeah.
And they were saying that it cost them, it was crazy how much it cost them in the 70s to build this.
I can imagine.
And yet it only totaled 4 minutes and 11 seconds of seeing it in the movie. That the whole fear of Jaws was portrayed in 4 minutes and 11 seconds of that movie.
That's insane.
Because that's all that thing was used in it.
Yeah,
and right now, you could, in probably a day and a half, designers could create whatever they need to refilm that movie at a level that would make the original one look laughable. I mean,
yeah, I started learning a 3D software called Blender. It's a 3D free software, VFX and everything. I started that about 6 months ago. And all the developments in AI, I'm like, why am I even learning this anymore? I could type in stuff.
It'd be a waste of time.
Yeah. It'll give me a better, a background or scenery than I could ever compose myself.
Yeah.
So,
well, I've talked to professors that teach graphic design at colleges, and they've been saying this for 3 decades, that if you graduate with a 2-year associate's degree, let's say from a trade school in graphic design, if you don't go to school in that industry immediately and keep training, if you waited 2 years after getting your degree and tried to go get a job, you'd already be outdated on the technology being used. And that's been the way it's been for 3 decades.
Right.
So we've kind of seen that in some industries, to where you're obsolete if you aren't actively every day keeping track of the pace of technology.
Yeah, I watched an interview the other day, and it was a famous painter. He's actually the guy who painted all of Facebook's murals that they have in their offices. And he flat out said, AI paints better than him. It does better graphics than him. And he's like, the crazy thing was that he actually, it's artificial intelligence. He asked ChatGPT a question that he would normally ask his lawyer. Okay. And he got the answer, and then he called his lawyer and asked him the same question. He said ChatGPT pretty much gave him the same answer his lawyer did. So he fired his lawyer, after that. I was like, what? That's insane. I'm not suggesting anybody do that, but I thought that was just, mind blowing at this point.
Would you even be apprehensive about if you're getting ready to start college and say, I want to go spend, 10, 12 years and get a doctorate and be a surgeon? I don't know that in 12 years humans will be performing surgeries.
I don't know. That's a good question.
You know what I mean? Really, you go and input all your symptoms. This thing looks at you, so stand in front of here, starts taking MRIs of you. It analyzes the MRIs on its own, comes up with a treatment course, and if surgery needs to be done, it learns what type of surgery, where it's at. You lay down, it gives you the, knocks your ass out and performs surgery on you. Where is there room for a human in any of that when you look at where technology is going,
Well, it's at the point, like people would always say, like, get a second opinion. With AI, you're getting like 1 million second opinions all at once,
It's really interesting. It really is when you start thinking of all the different landscapes of not just the technology that's advancing, but how many different career paths and different industries it may play such a role in. And quite honestly, it may do so to the extent that, like you say, that's a benefit. I mean, I'd hate to see doctors out of work, but you know what? I bet you it costs you a lot less to go have surgery at that point.
I hope so,
Who knows? It'll be interesting. But
I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it progresses in, the next couple of years. It'll be interesting for sure.
Chesper says, Jeff, when I was teaching computers in 1978, I told students what's new today is obsolete tomorrow. That is absolutely correct.
Yep. Absolutely. Faster than you think.
Well, I appreciate you guys popping on. I'm not going to keep the show going too long tonight because we are going to have the Catskills Appalachian Research Collective on next week. I'm excited to have them on. This was my fault. Well, it was kind of StreamYard's fault, but I put the wrong date in. I don't know if you heard that, Eric. I put the wrong date in for the 24th instead of the 17th. And sent them a link and said, I'm free Monday night. Let's do the show Monday night. They were all excited about it. Talked about it on their channel. And I realized that it was showing the 24th. I thought, that's not what I clicked on the thing. So I went in and re-edited it, changed it to the 17th. Took YouTube about 2 days to catch that up. And it could be that the guys from CARC simply just saw that the link that I sent them shows the 24th. I completely don't blame them for assuming that we were going to do this show next week. So that's what we'll do. I'll retitle this show before it goes up to the podcast that it's Jeff, Eric, and Nikki hanging out. Shooting the crap on Untold Radio.
Well, those guys got a pretty good channel, and I really like their weekly thing that they do. I've caught a few of them.
Yes.
The production value is really good, and the information is great. So
it is. I'm excited to hear also about the other than what they've got going on there, their personal experiences and what they do out there on the East Coast. But it's I really enjoy their weekly update show. It's kind of you'll get a half a dozen snippets from different shows around the community. I think they're taking them from shows that seem to be kind of on the path of trying to present the subject well. And there's a lot to talk about. I mean, if you want to get into the drama side and the failed communication side of this community, there's a lot to talk about. I think that's something I typically stay away from. It's not my niche. I don't care to get into that too deeply on this show. But if you go look at Steve Cole's channel and pay attention to some of the things that are going on out there in this community, it just will make your head spin. Like, what is going on here? So, and Nikki does a great job of filling that niche too, addressing these issues as they come up, taking a real analytical look at what's real and what's not. And if we know that it's not, why are we portraying it as real? What's the motive
Right.
behind that? You know, it's something that if I remember when Nikki started her show, I thought that's a niche that needs to be filled right now. Because I know Steve had been talking about, Brent talks about it too, but it's just gotten so out of hand that, you know, quite honestly, half the channels in this community really need to be talking about it. Those channels that aren't filling that niche now and then should still be talking about it because it's just rampant.
It is, yeah. We'll see how it goes in the next couple of months here. So
yeah,
it's needed.
Well, Nikki, I appreciate having you on. We're going to have you on again too before July, when we get closer to the date of the event out there, so you can kind of fill us in a little bit on where you guys are at with the planning, how many people you got who are coming out, what exactly is going to be on the menu. It'll be fun to learn those details as they unfold. So, and you are muted right now.
Shoot. I did that so you wouldn't hear my husband's TV over there. So yeah, no, it's going to be exciting and can't wait to get close. We are getting closer. These months are flying by. Yeah. So it's going to happen fast and got to get things in order here. But yeah, thanks for having me on. It was nice.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys popping on short notice like this. It's awesome to have friends who are there when you need them. So, but yeah, I wish you guys great shows coming up here this week on both your channels. And I encourage people to go check out Media Palace here on YouTube and Harryman Hoaxes and Hoodwinks. That's Nikki's channel. Nikki, you broadcast a show every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And Eric, what time's your show? Are you doing a regular one weekly, or are you
I'm
just
trying to get a little bit better. I'm trying to do Fridays now. Fridays at 8:30. That's what I'm getting situated in. So
I remember that's another thing that's cyclic is what's on what night, right? I remember when I picked Monday night to do a show starting a year and a half ago, thinking nobody's doing anything on Monday night.
Right.
Now I look and there's quite a few things I compete against on Monday night. And yet I'll sit there on Saturday night and look at the schedule and say, no, why isn't anything going on Saturday night? You know, I remember when I picked Monday night, Saturday night, there wasn't any room in the pool to go for a swim. I mean,
right. Yeah.
It's just funny how all that just keeps changing, you know?
It does.
But
people's lives change and things come up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys being on. We will stay in touch. If you want to stay backstage, I'll talk to you in just a minute if you want.
Sounds good.
All right. And for everybody else, I appreciate you showing up. Normally we go about a 2-hour show. I'm not going to do that tonight. We've been on for about an hour and a half, and I'm excited for next week's show. We'll get CRC on and kind of do the show that we would have done had I not kind of screwed up that scheduling. And excited for that. Next Monday morning, I'm also excited because we're going to have Alex and Doug on for coffee time. I've been getting messages left and right saying, dude, you got to get Alex on for coffee time. There's so many people that love his personality as he co-hosts with Doug on Wednesday nights on Untold Radio's flagship show. And so I'm excited to get him on. I can't even have a 5-minute phone conversation with him without just cracking up because he makes me laugh so much. I just love his personality. So looking forward to that. Otherwise, we will see you all later. Have a great rest of your week, and may the weather stay well where you're at. I know it's inconsistent all over the place, it seems like right now, but we're enjoying some 60s and 70s here. Compared to what we had 2 weeks ago, we will take it right now up here in South Dakota, northern Minnesota area. But other than that, you guys have a great rest of your night, rest of your week.